gratefulness and entitlement cannot coexist.
Absolutely not.
And it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. And literally so anytime my buddy Bradley said something from, he told a young man in his 20s this one time, and it really, really hit home for me. Check it out. Tell me what you think. So he said, he basically asked this kid, he said, how old are you? And the kid was like 24. He's like, when you're 34, will you know more than you do at 24? And the kid was like, yeah. He was like, when you're 44, will you know more than you did at 34? He goes, yeah. He said, so obviously the greatest gift in life is a new day, right? Because without it, there's nothing else. He said, but really think hard about a new day, because if you do the same thing you did yesterday, technically it's a new sunrise, but it's not a new day. The ultimate gift is a new day. So when things are happening to you, they're happening for you. So like we were talking about literally like last night when the deer decided to run into my Jeep, like that sucks, man. That, it's a whole lot of stuff. It's a insurance claim, all these things, but I'm going through something for the first time today. And when I get through it, I'm that much stronger, that much more credible, that much more qualified to do even more as a leader of my own household. You know what I mean? And my son's watching the whole thing. These are skills that you only learn by doing them real time. You know what I mean? You can't prepare for something like that, really. So, I'm grateful in the fact that my son starts driving soon. He felt what it feels like to hit something.
Yeah.
And that is, if you've never felt it before, it's different. You can never feel it until you felt it, So for me, it was almost like, I'm almost like looking up saying thank you, because now when my son drives, I'll be a little bit more secure in the fact that like he's had that first wreck before.
Absolutely.
It's
interesting when you say that. I had a friend of mine who passed away in August of last year. He was a mentor of mine for about 30 years.
Who, can you say who?
Yeah, his name is Don Enright.
Don Enright. I was going to ask you who your mentors were.
Yeah, I talked about in my book. And, I was rereading some of his text messages that he sent me. Actually, I put him on audio, and as I was driving up from Mississippi, I was listening to him. And he says, no matter what you do in life, it's going to end. He says, but your job every day is to squeeze every ounce of joy out of every day. Tomorrow's another day. Find that joy again. And he said something else too. Remember to be thankful. He talked about this all the time. Look, I'm going to give you a couple secrets in this world. 2 words: thank you and respect. Pretty hard to be unhappy when you think about that, right?
Agreed.
And no matter how much you're a healthy person, I'm a healthy person, no matter how much we take care of ourselves, it's going to end. And if we obsess about all the negative things, it's the wrong mindset, because anything that goes wrong in our life, we can have a do-over tomorrow.
Yeah.
And we obsess so much about making sure everything's right and winning all the time. Here's another thing he said. You realize we only have to be right 51% of the time to win, but we're shooting for 60, 70, 80, 90. 51 is pretty attainable.
That's right.
But we put these goals out there so high. So the experience you had with your son in the car, is it part of life? Yes. But you reframe it the way you did, which is beautiful. You turned it into a teaching moment.
Alex, I heard one of the most powerful things ever. So first of all, every storm does run out of rain, right? So we know that. But my wife and I, really my wife, I met her through my wife, I guess it's been about 1.5 years ago, lost a friend suddenly, right? And I saw one of the bravest things at that funeral that I've ever seen before. And since then, so basically her mother stood at the pulpit with her son, or with her daughter laying below her, right in front and below her. And she sat up there and she said, years ago, I suddenly lost my husband. And now I've suddenly lost my daughter, and my grandson sits out there. I think he was like 8 at the time. It's tough. She sat up there and thanked Jesus for trusting her to handle her suddenlies. It was one of the most profound and powerful things I've ever freaking heard. We lost her last year, but I will always remember her, and I will keep her memory alive with that one statement that she made from the pulpit, doing something that I can't imagine doing, standing over my dead child.
Yeah, I'll tell you this story, and I've never told it. Told it to people. A few months before my daughter was a victim of a sex crime, we were out here for the CMAs and National. We're staying at the Gaylord, and she was still struggling because she was at that age, 14 or so. and she disappeared at me in the Gaylord. And for you guys that don't know, Gaylord's a massive hotel, and couldn't find her. And I'm reaching out to security. They're combing the whole property, and I'm thinking, she's gone. You know, she's gone. She's dead. You know, and they eventually found her. She was being very, very combative. I called this therapist that day, and I said, "Look, I can't keep her alive. She's going to die with the way I'm doing it." Eventually got her home, and that's when she get to go to Hawaii. But the thing is, I am grateful for those moments. But for someone to say goodbye to their child, my God. And I didn't experience it, but if they're part of it, it's pretty amazing. You know, we were talking about some other stuff. We were talking about...
There's some Kleenexes down below if you need them, right below that.
I don't need no Kleenexes, okay? God, this is fake tears. Stop it. That's crocodile tears. I'm a man. Damn it. I told you I don't have emotions. Stop.
I sat in that chair last week in an interview, and I needed them. You know,
I can use my sleeve. No, just kidding. We were talking about the stuff I learned from my dad, right? And other people. And I kind of label that as emotional debt, right? You're told certain things that stop you from doing other stuff. And that's why I always tell people, you know, we talk about in that book, that emotional debt isn't who we are, right? Like I was told not to be emotional, right? And we talked about it a little bit, but that is my strength, you know, and what your mother, what was it? Your mother?
It was the friend's mother. Yeah. Carolyn was her name.
That is superpower strength.
Yeah.
You know, no one told her not to do that, but everybody else tells us, don't be vulnerable, don't be emotional, don't be this, right? But she did it. And here's what's really amazing. It impacted you. Correct. And so going through my life right now, that's what I'm trying to do. Let people know, hey, it's okay. Yeah. Because it resonated with you. And you and I, we've been around for a while. Yeah. So it's pretty cool that someone impacted you that dramatically. So for everybody out there, give yourself a permission slip to sit there and be emotionally present.
I couldn't agree with you more. And one of the things that I'm finding with, you know, top performers, successful people in general, is they're getting more and more comfortable becoming themselves. I mean, literally, like folks, I want you to understand something. Alex, if you technically don't have to work another day in your life, I'm just guessing. I don't know that, but like, I mean, dude, you've been your entire family just reeks of greatness. You know what I'm saying? And success. And to come in, you're coming here. I just met you for the first time today. And for us to be able to talk about this sensitive of stuff, it's absolutely refreshing. And I'm learning that from top performers that it's okay to do that, because when you're an underclassman, let's just say, in life, you want to look up and be accepted by those people. And I'm learning that like the more authentic and vulnerable you are, the faster that can happen. That's the fast track. That's the fastest way to get there, right?
Absolutely. But the problem is that, and first of all, thank you for saying that. This is when I made that transition in my life, because I've only been doing this stuff. That first book came out 4 years ago. It felt really good. You read the reviews, and I don't care if you're a gazillionaire or whatever you are, you still have a certain level of brokenness. We all have a certain level of brokenness, right? But the way you're going to connect with somebody is sharing that brokenness together. Right. Whether or not you're a $7 billion company or you have $1, we're all humans. But the interesting thing is, oh, he comes from this. They have jets, they have yachts, they have all this stuff. He's perfect. Really? Really? No. Our problems are magnified. Yes. Here's the great thing that money does at the level that I've been surrounded by. It highlights your weaknesses very, very fast. Very, very fast. People don't understand that. Okay. So yeah, it's different. So if I can tell people, hey, look, here's the reality. Forget about that money stuff and be present and create as many memories as you can. Okay. Because here's the thing. Financial wealth can be taken away. The bank can take your house. The bank can call loans. You know what the bank can't do? Two things it can't do. It can't take your education away, and it can't take memories. So F you, bank. Right?
Fact, baby.
I'm in control. And that's what people don't understand.
Again, it's just, this is such there's so many directions that a conversation with a guy like you could go, you know? And this is like my sweet spot right here. This is what I care about. And this is like, I'm, you know, I had it's been a crazy few weeks, and
well, you killed a deer, for God's sake. I mean, shit. I know what we're doing here right now. We should be making venison or jerky.
I know. Or why? Yeah, we shouldn't be watching Bambi. That's
we should be watching Bambi or I don't know.
Well, it's you're. All I can accurately speak to is the experiences that I've had. I can have opinions about a lot of things, but I can definitely have a fact-based theory about things that I've lived through. And that's all that I can help people with is what I've personally experienced. Outside of that, I really can't prove, there's a million ways to do one thing or another. All I can tell you is this is how I did it and it worked for me. And the people that taught me, they taught me this because it worked for them. Right. So it's the track record. So it's again, gosh, it's Alex, it's so refreshing to meet somebody that's again, where you're at in life and to know that Marcus Whitney's one of the founders of the soccer club here. And he said, dude, don't mistake my chapter 20 for your chapter 2, and I have the same problems. They're just magnified. They're just bigger, because there's more at stake, more lives affected and so on and so forth. So, talk to me a little bit about, I want to get back to the family dynamic. So your younger brother. All right. So did your father look to you first? And how did that work out? How did the family dynamic play?
I don't know if it really was a looking type of thing. So we have a big family because it's kind of yours, mine, and ours. Mm-hmm. So my dad was married to my mother. That eventually didn't work out. My dad met another woman. She had 2 previous kids. My dad had 4 from another woman. Family merged. Then my dad and my new mom ended up creating 2 more children.
Gotcha.
Right? And so that's a dynamic. Some of us worked in the business. Some of us didn't. I was one of the ones that worked in it. And eventually my brother Andy graduated from SMU, very, very smart, almost identical to my dad, just ridiculously smart, had a really good way with people. And he took the company to the next level. He's an anomaly, but just really, really good with people. And going to back up to what you said, and this is how my brother Andy is. He knows what he knows, and he knows what works, right? Don't talk about stuff you don't know. Talk about what you do know. Talk about from your firsthand experience. And so what he's done, it's always been family. What Niagara's done, they've given a lot back to the community. I toured a facility of ours in Lancaster, Texas a week ago. It's 1.3 million square feet. In case the world wants to know, that's a really, really big facility.
Yes, it is.
And I don't work for Niagara. I'm not part of Niagara. My last name is Pakoff. My dad founded it. My brother works there. Mm-hmm. But I went on the floor and started talking to people, and they talked about how amazing it was to work for Niagara because there was a sense of respect and family. And they heard about my dad and what he did and what my brother's doing. And people were coming from Dr. Pepper, from Pepsi and working for because of the environment. So in life, it's sharing those experiences and creating that safe environment where you feel good to people. That's what it's all about. And so watching that happen is impressive. And my brother Andy, is quiet wealth. Doesn't yell about it. In fact, he's made sure people kind of be quiet a little bit. They have several Gulfstream jets. They have 2 mega yachts. None of them say Niagara on them. None of them say Pakoff on them. There's a lot of stuff they have, but they're not for show. They're for convenience and for practicality. That's his journey. And that's the journey that people need to understand. Just because you have these things, they're not to sit there and yell about it. They're to create memories.